Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to Uplift. Whether you're watching us live or on replay, we appreciate you. And if you happen to be a spiritual leader or healer, I don't know, it must be a really good show for you to watch.
Maybe. We'll see you in a minute.
Hello and welcome to Uplifting conversations that set your heart on fire. As usual, my name is Sarah Wade. I haven't changed it recently. I am, of course, an art therapist, co-host of this amazing show, and mum and coach, and so many more things, because there's more than one thing that makes up ourselves, right? More in that in a minute. As usual, joining us from Calgary in Canada, Mr. Neil Thrussell. Welcome.
Welcome, Sarah. I'm completely nerded and geeked out. I spent a greater part of a long weekend here in Canada or in North America. It's called the Labor Day weekend. And I went to a science fiction convention, and I'm just totally geeked out and absolutely loving life and bigger and loving life. As Sarah said, I am the co-host of the Uplift Show. I am an author. I am, what am I? I don't want to be defined by roles. I'm just a human being trying to get along in this world. And I'm excited. I'm really excited to have Michelle Saluja on the show. This is the second time I've actually had her on the show. Welcome, Michelle.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys. How exciting. What a great from Gold Coast. So, yeah. Gold Coast. So, yes. I know, sunny Gold Coast. We've actually got some sun today, which is beautiful. But thanks for having me on the show. What a great welcome. And I love that you were geeked out, Neil. And, yes, Sarah, you haven't changed your name since last we saw you. Love it. But thanks for having me here.
Yeah, yes, I know.
You can do
well,
that.
I've changed my hair color, too. It's going gray.
Too much
dye out.
So,
everybody that you...
Go,
Neil.
Michelle, we're just so excited to have you on the show to talk about helping holistic people, holistic practitioners make changes in their life. And I am hoping it's epic changes for the good and not evil.
I love that sort of, yes. But no, definitely for the good, because, we want people out there to spread their message and to really step into that space so they can help more people. And look, being a holistic practitioner myself, I know what it's like to hide behind the shadows of what it is that we do and not step into that spotlight, so to speak, so that people know who you are. I mean, you guys have experienced that at some level. We all start somewhere, right?
Absolutely. I started here.
The change. Yeah, I think that's an interesting thing about us as humans, as we grow and evolve, our levels of safety and security change, our level of comfortability changes, our level of growth changes, and there's always that next level. Michelle, I'm curious, with that next level, what's one thing that you've noticed with spiritual leaders that as they're leveling up, that they keep butting into?
Look, and I don't think it's specific to just spiritual leaders and entrepreneurs and practitioners and such. I think it's often ourselves. Look, I don't know about you guys, but I know that I'm forever butting up against myself. Another belief that I come up against that I need to challenge, push through. Am I good enough? Can I do it? Do I know enough? What if someone doesn't like what I do? Like, there's all these aspects, and it's us. I mean, I think we're our greatest enemy to some degree.
Absolutely. One of the Buddhist teaching is the greatest battle we will ever fight and our biggest enemy is ourself.
Love that. Yeah. And it's so true. Because and I think just leading to what you were saying, Sarah, it was like every level there's another devil, right? So, we start at one spot and we want to move to the next, and as the next one does move, we move up the level. There's something else that we need to break through. And often it's something internal, often it's a belief, often it's a perception, often it's just a story we have, something. Well, it sounds simple, but it can prevent us from doing what it is that we want to do.
So, Michelle, I want to know a secret. Were you born this smart, or did you have to hit a few bumps in the road?
Oh, good question. I think there's always that misconception at times with people that we know what we know and we've always been wise, or it's come easy, or we've just navigated life without any challenges. But no, I've had a lot of challenges. I've had plenty of ups and downs and plenty of bumps in the roads. It's been one hell of an emotional journey to get here. I have to tell you that. That's probably another 3 or 4 episodes. So, look, honestly, I could share it, but it hasn't been an easy road whatsoever. And I think we all sort of start down this path of where we think we're going, but we end up in a completely different place. And look, I never even thought I'd be doing what I'm doing now, ever. In a million years, I thought I'd just be a mum, raise my children, being a good little housewife, but I'm completely opposite to that whatsoever. And here I am. So look, it hasn't come without challenges, many challenges, and it hasn't been hard, it hasn't been easy. It's been a lot of hardness, a lot of tears, a lot of feeling completely lost along the way. And I think most people, they can relate to that because they've experienced it, or else they're going through it right
now. Absolutely. Sarah,
Absolutely. I was listening to Bill Robbins this morning.
Yeah. Sarah, I know you've lived a gifted life. You've had no struggles, 0 struggles.
Yeah, no, that's me. 0 struggles, Sarah. That's what they call me. I think it's quite factual to say we've all had our own struggles, and whether we choose to lean into it and keep struggling, or if we choose to go, shit, I'm angry, or I'm jealous, or I've got an emotion inside me that's actually pulling me, and it's a strong navigation of my boundary, or a want, or a desire. When we listen to those things and we truly, I've learned my major lessons when I've learned and leaned into those moments. If I just, la, 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 I don't know about you guys, but I just rinse and repeat the same thing. It might be with a different person. Obviously, usually they have a different name. However, you still get those lessons. And I think, we're all got stuff that is a little bit left of center, or not quite right, or something that maybe we want to hide from others because maybe others might not like that. And they're all things that we all deal with. And I know that Neil has experienced these too. And if you're watching this live or in replay, if you've experienced this too, please let us know, and please feel free to share your experience. We'd love to connect with you too. So Neil, Mr. Perfect, how does Mr. Perfect sort of handle life? Because I was far from Michelle and I.
Well, for me, I don't know about you, but in when you're building a house, you can buy lumber of different thicknesses. And when I first come to a problem, using the imperial measurement, the stick that hits me is just a little 2x2. And then when I don't pay attention, it gets a little thicker and it hits me a little harder, and it becomes 2 inches by a 4-inch piece of wood. And then when I think that I'm in the pits of despair, it hits me with this great big 8-inch by 8-inch piece of lumber and smacks me on the head. And I finally pay attention. when I know better, I've done all the training, NLP, blah, blah. I've done the training to pay attention to the little things in life, the little hiccups. And I don't know, it's my human nature to go, no, I really need to be hit with those big boards.
Yeah, I think a lot of us can relate to those big boards too, because it's quite common to ignore those little signs, isn't it? You know, we've all experienced those. We've all moved forward and ignored that. Oh, it's all right, I'll get back to that later. And then, as Neil said, that bigger 2x4 comes, or the 4x4, or the 16x4, or whatever size piece of wood or truck or brick or whatever hits you. It can really hurt, and it can damage our ego. It can damage our self-esteem. It can damage so much. It can damage relationships too. Michelle, on that, leaning into that, how do you learn to love yourself in those moments as you try to move forward and come out to growth mode?
Oh, look, that's a really great question, because you know, we do have two choices here. We have that choice to not accept ourselves, or to be even more critical, or to feed the story and feed the fires that really take us away from who we truly are and what we can actually become. Or we can, like you said, Sarah, and I love that, is we can lean into it. And when we lean into it, it's being gentle, softer and kinder. There are so many people out there who can treat us poorly. You know, I think we've all seen that over the last few years. We've come across that in our life, whether that be people who are close to us or just people within our environment, in our community. And there's enough that don't treat us well through their own challenges or whatever might be coming up for them. That why should we be the other person that treats us so poorly? And yeah, exactly. You know, we end up picking up the stick along with everyone else and kind of beating ourselves along the way. But it really does become a process. And I think when you start to talk about, you know, how do we love ourselves along this you know, whether it be post-traumatic growth journey or just this journey we call life, it is a process. It's a lifelong learning to do so. And that's just accepting, you know, I don't have to be perfect, but I need to keep my standards there, so I'm trying. Well, yes, Mr. Perfect, Mr. Neil. Perfect, right? Lucky you. But, you know, it can be difficult, particularly when you've had people whisper in your ear that you can't do this. You're not good enough to do it. You shouldn't do it. And we have these little voices just outside of us, whether it be real people or these perceived people in our head, who keep taking us away from what we should be doing, who we should be, what we should be experiencing, what lights our soul on fire. And yet, again, we have the two choices. We can listen, or we can listen to that internal voice and go, you know what, I'm going to listen to me. And what happens with that is we start to trust ourselves a little bit more. When we trust ourselves a little bit more, we fall in love with ourselves a little bit more. We start to nurture ourselves a little bit more, and we start to do it again. And we start to do it again. So it builds this beautiful process of becoming, which I love. I love seeing that with people as they start to really step into their own and listen to their voice, not the voice of the world that maybe or may not be telling them what's right.
Today, I learned that someone shared with me their opinion on why people stop us from growing. And many of us have heard the crab in the crab pot where they pull us down. But one person explained it to me is that they love they love the person that you are so much that they're deathly afraid of the change of the person that you are going to become.
Yes. Yeah, because it impacts them and who they are. It scares them. You know, when life changes around us and people are changing, the people we love, then we start to question who we are in relation to that. So as soon as we start to do that, we're creating this identity shift. And for a lot of people, it becomes really uncomfortable. Who am I if this person changes? Who am I in their world? Will they love me still? Will I still be with them? You know, or will they reject me? You know, there's so many questions that come up. And this is why, that crabs in a bucket analogy, just it works so well because it's so true. People keep us where they want us because it's safe for them. Safe for them.
Absolutely. So if our readers or viewers or listeners on live or on replay wanted to get a hold of you, is this the best place to get a hold of you, Michelle?
Well, you can get a hold of me through my Facebook. So that would be the best place. That what you've got up there is a little free grip. Oh, there we go. We've got the Facebook link down below. So other than that, we have a lovely little ebook that I created for people who are looking to start their own business, or they're already in the process of building their own holistic practice or trying to step into that online space. But I wrote this for you. Some of the 6 mistakes that we make when we're trying to attract our ideal client. So that is yours, my friend. Yeah, love the face, Neil. But Facebook is the best place to contact me.
Wonderful. So, speaking of 6 mistakes, could you share just with Sarah and I and no one else what one of those mistakes could be that people are doing, and that you could save them hours, days, maybe even a lifetime of going in the wrong direction?
Oh, goodness, where to start? I think there's a very comprehensive list to this. And it's one thing, that's why I love what I do, is it's not just one thing, it's many things, which I've only got 6 in the book. And there's more, but I'll share a couple. So again, I'll just share it with you guys. So if anyone's listening, turn away, stop listening right now. And that way, Neil and Sarah get the best of this. But look, for a lot of people I see, and you've probably seen this, and you probably started doing this yourself, is really not creating the relationships with those that could be your potential client at all. So, we're not connecting with them, we're not sharing with them, we're not creating this know, like, and trust process for many of them. And I think one of the mistakes I see is they're just posting and trying to show people what they've got, but it could be just an event, but they're not showing people who they are and creating the relationship that goes with that. And because I don't know about you, I like to buy from people I know. Word of mouth's great, or else, if I'm sort of stalking, yeah, I know, right? Stalking on someone, I want to know more about them. I want to know who this person is. And so we need to create a relationship, not just sell a product. It's about relationship building more than anything, because I think, I don't know what it was like 50 years ago, but today it is about relationships. Who do I have the most rapport with? Who do I know the most? Who do I feel like is like me? And that's who I buy off. So that's one.
Or also, I would add, who is the person that I'm becoming? If I hired a coach who was already like me, I don't know that they'd be able to push me as much as that person that I'm aspiring to be. So there's a little bit of yes and no there I wanted to add. And I love that people see us for us, right? So if you go onto Michelle's page, you can see a variety of posts. You can see her lives, you can see her reels, you can see her written posts, and you get to know Michelle, just like you get to know Neil and I. So if you're not doing that, maybe take a leaf out of Michelle's book and style it your way. Speaking of Michelle, you can see across the screen, you can find her at facebook.com Michelle /Michelle Saluja.
Correct.
Now, you mentioned that there was another thing. Now, we've just been speaking about your book and about these 6 amazing things that you've spoken about in the book. Can you share another one with us?
Oh, all right, just one more. Okay, one more, right? I love it. Look, consistency is key. Being consistent. How many of you listening, or even just yourself, Sarah, Neil, how many of you have been guilty out there of not being consistent? You know, it'd be like sort of saying the business that we have, we're going to only open it up when we just, yeah, 100%, me too. You know, in the start, it was like when I felt like it. So it was like the shop was only open when I felt like I wanted to open the shop, right? So I got to decide, but that might be once every few weeks, or that might be once, you know, a week, or it might be just at my leisure, so to speak. And that's the thing, is that consistency. You know, when we're looking at algorithms, when we're looking at social media and using that as a tool, you know, because isn't that where everyone's on at the moment? Like, seriously, like, where's the yellow pages anymore? Like, do we use anything like that? You know, it's
I have a monitor on it. It's used as uplifting my monitor, the yellow pages.
We can Google one, but, you know, most people will Google Facebook first, or at least predominantly that. You know, it's certainly a very well-known place to find people, to find businesses, to get a bit of an idea of what they look like, get a feel of what they feel like. And if we're not, if we're looking at building something and we're not consistently showing up, then our potential clients can't see us. They're not going to know that we're there, or else they're going to go, oh, she was there, or he was there one day and then not the next. What happened? You know, they're only posting every like 2 or 3 times a month. You know, I don't get to know much about them. So it might sound like some simple concepts or simple strategies, so to speak. Sometimes these things can be make a really big difference to allowing the people to see us showing up often, you know, showing up in our element, getting to know who we are, and really getting a feel of what it is that we do. So consistency is key. If we're not consistent, then, you know, what are we doing?
So for our male viewers out there, we're going to bring in some relationship advice here. Marketing and building is your business is like building a relationship. It is like being in the dating world. You can throw your name out and walk up to a partner or a person that you would like to date and say, hey, let's go and do this. And 1 in a million chance your line may work. But most of the time, you need to build rapport and a relationship, and you need to speak in the language that person speaks. For me to speak high elf to a dwarf, or to someone, geeking it out here, to someone that doesn't understand my language, it's not going to work. Building your relationship in your business is similar. You have to speak the language of the people that you want to bring in.
I love that. And it's so true. It's no different. Like, no matter what type of relationship we're having, whether it be a business one or a personal one, we still have to do the same thing. You're right, Neil. I love the analogy. You just don't go up to someone and literally ask them to, you know, hey, you don't want to come my way. And you're right. It might be 1 in a million chance that person says yes. But we kind of want to date that person. We want to woo that person. We want to let them know that we're interested about them. Not about the sale, but about them personally. And also that consistency, same thing, is, I mean, we've all dated at one stage, and having someone show up consistently feels good. We know that they're there, and if they're inconsistent, we start to get confused and we start to question, you know, does this person like me? Does this person care? Is this person even interested? So we can question things. So great analogy. It really is not that dissimilar to the dating game whatsoever. So love it.
And the other piece I'd add is integrity.
Yeah.
If you say you're going to do something in a relationship, you need to follow through. If you're going to do something with a client, you need to follow through. And if you are unable, you need to pick up and go, I cannot do this, and own up and deal with it. I know I would sooner, me personally, be told a heartfelt, I screwed up, I've overbooked, whatever from a client, I cannot deliver. How can I make this up to you? To me, I'm already falling deeper in love with that person that I want to do business with.
Yeah, because you're right, it is integrity.
And if you think about like at an awards ceremony, like if somebody fell over coming up the stairs, everyone feels sorry for them. Everyone's like, oh man, that would be so embarrassing. You can feel the room getting anxious for them. People genuinely care. And to add to what Neil's saying, one of the best things that I've seen coaches, mentors, lecturers, or you name it, people say and do was 3 magic words. I don't know. If someone tells me I don't know, I genuinely trust them more instead of fluffing an answer or, making, like Michelle, those 3 magic words. What would you add to that?
To me, what comes up is it's authenticity, isn't it? It's showing that you're a person and not trying to be someone who's perfect, who knows every little thing, because the reality is we don't. And we're all human. And I really showing that humanness with authenticity, with integrity. Now, that's a beautiful quality to have. And you're right, you do. You end up falling more in love with that person because they're being themselves and they're stepping up and they're really taking that ownership and responsibility of where they're at. And as a coach, particularly if you're coaching people out there, we've got people out there, the practitioners, the leaders, the entrepreneurs, you really want to lead the people that you're working with. So you need to go first. So beautiful.
So my question to the rest of you, Michelle and Sarah, what do you do to make connection in your coaching business with people? Years ago, I was in Houston and I wandered up, and when I could eat cheese, can't eat cheese now, and I ordered a pizza. This man made me feel so important, and he was just taking my pizza order. Like, I would have followed him into battle because he made me feel so special. What is it that you do or could offer suggestions to our listeners and viewer and audience to help them deepen connection with their clients, their friends and family?
Well, what a big question, Michelle.
It is, isn't it? Oh, you're throwing it back to me first. Okay, fair enough. Let's jump in here. I was like, who's going first, right? Look, I think it is a big question. And how would we treat someone that we care about? If we were to take money, sales off the table, how would we treat people that we care about? How do we treat people that we love? And we might not necessarily know these people, but it doesn't stop us loving on them appropriately, because we don't want to get any stalking issues going on here, but certainly appropriate loving on people. As we nurture them, we do care for them, we be available to them. Obviously, we still need to set boundaries for ourselves and our own lives. But I think, again, to keep it simple, most people want to feel special, so we listen.
Yeah.
We listen.
So we've got listen. Anything on your part, Sarah?
I agree. Listening is so important. I don't know about you guys, but I've received DMs from somebody who's trying to set appointments or trying to book me for one thing or another, whether to be their client, and they're just relentless. And you're like, you didn't ask me anything about me. Maybe if they did, they didn't touch on it, and they're just going through that script that someone's given them, and it frustrates and irks me, and I know exactly who to block and delete when people do that. And I wonder if you, the audience, have experienced that too. Don't worry, us coaches get that as well, and it can be really frustrating. So having those active listening skills, 100% agree. For me, I love to work in the transpersonal realm. So not just the stuff that we see, but the stuff that, that we don't see, the stuff behind, the stuff behind, the stuff behind the stuff is where I thrive. And so I believe personally, from me experiencing it as a client and facilitating this for other people, that's where I come in. That's where I really hold them and help them. But again, that's after they're the client. So I love that Michelle's spoken about, listening and caring, and then we've got the actual process of doing. Now, Neil, you threw a curly question out to us. I'm curious to know what your response is.
Absolutely. And it's connection, and connection through eye contact, and not to the point where you're staring at them and boring a hole through them, but truly make a heartfelt connection. Like look at them in the eyes and look at them whole person, and not from a judgment place, but really, the best word I can use is really see this person in front of you and just love the person that is in front of you, because they're there, and you might as well. For the 2 minutes that I was there, I felt heard because he was actively listening. I felt seen because he listened to my order. And then I felt appreciated because at the very end, as he's handing me my change, he said, "Thank you." And I felt that he truly meant thank you.
You can feel it, can't you?
Yeah. And he was in less than 2 minutes, and this was 10 years ago. I still know this particular connection.
Oh, and g'day, Dre. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you. Appreciate your comments. Looking forward to chatting again soon. And yeah, being present. Oh, what a gift. So thank you to everybody who has taken the time to be present with us today. We appreciate you. Yeah. And we are curious, how do you feel about this new shorter format? Let us know. Now, I'm interested, Michelle. So you spoke about, getting people and talking to them. Now, I've experienced this, and I wonder if anybody else has experienced this, where as someone who's got something to share with others, well, you should just give that away, shouldn't you? Now, when we're told from so many people just to give our gifts away, how can we possibly pay for our own bills and things like that? What would you suggest to somebody who is in the initial stages and is like, have all these things, but is stuck in that I need to give it away mode?
So you're talking about someone who's offering free services to others? Or just giving value in what it is that they do?
I would go beyond the value and is just giving it away. So like, for example, I quite often, many years ago, I was getting approached by people who were suicidal and desperately needed help and would be calling me at 3 a.m. via Facebook, and I had to put a boundary up and I had to say, listen, I'm sleeping. There's 24-hour hotlines that you can go to. But then there was part of me who was like, well, I can help them. I should be up at 3 o'clock helping this person. And I think, society has pushed us, to give away so much to help others. And we kind of forget, kind of our nose to spite our face sometimes. And one of my major lessons was I'm actually worth money, I'm worth these things that I've studied for, and it's worth these things that I've acquired through time and energy and efforts. So that's where my question was leaning into, where we go from giving it ourselves 100% away as opposed to value shares, which you were leaning towards that.
That's a big question for me. And I'll walk you through why that's so, being a psychologist as well as doing what I do now. So I kind of wear a couple of different hats. And I think the biggest journey and lesson that I've learned is valuing, because not only in the psychology realm, but also in that spiritual, holistic practitioner field, it feels like we've had a lot of society just drumming into us. You're not worth much. You should, from a psychological perspective, you should bulk bill, which for those who are outside of Australia, that would mean pay a bulk bill would be someone who only is charged what the government will pay, which is very minimal, mind you. So even in that holistic practitioner field of things, your energy workers, Reiki practitioners, you name it. Again, there's this culture that's been built up for a long, long time that these are services that aren't valued. And so we've created this nearly persona, and it's interesting when you put on different hats, because I've noticed myself do that. When I'm in one realm, it's like, can't charge, it's hard to charge more money here, even though I've spent nearly $200,000 on myself in terms of growth and personal and professional development. Yet the government and people are saying, but you need to bulk bill, you need to charge minimal for this service that is worth so much more. And I find that in that spiritual entrepreneurial arena, there's a lot of that as well. So, and I think really at the end of the day, I suppose in this sort of elongated sort of story that I'm sharing, it is knowing your worth. It's knowing that the value of the service that you have is actually worth something, that you've done work, you've learned something, you've spent money on yourself to learn a skill that is of value and that makes a difference. And a lot of people, because we've been indoctrinated to think that maybe energy work isn't something of value because it's not as tangible as going to a psychiatrist and getting medication or whatever it might be that we're comparing it up against, that it's not worth something like that. So, finding that worth and really knowing that you have something of value is so important to start the transition, and starting simply, starting small.
I'm curious if you've experienced this. If you've experienced this, please let us know. And whether it be Michelle, Neil, or I, or all three of us, we will get in touch with you and continue that conversation. Go, Neil.
What I've noticed is, because many people equate spirituality with the Eastern beliefs and from the Reiki and all this coming from the spiritual realms of the Eastern countries, the far East, and spirituality in the Far East was an acceptable form, and they were paid minimal, but they were looked after. Culturally, you would see your sadhu and you would feed him. If he needed clothing, you would feed him or her and you would clothe them. Well, in North America, we're around the realm of money. We're taught you earn money, but yet we haven't balanced, and we're in the process culturally of balancing that. In the West, spirituality is paid monetarily, and not that we could go door to door and say, hey, I will do this, I can help you, feed me and clothe me. So it's just a cultural difference that I think we collectively are having to come to a grips and deal with.
Absolutely. And if I could add to that, and I will speak generally as well, and this is probably something that may trigger some people when I say this, is it's okay to charge for your spiritual practice. It's okay to charge for your energetic work. It's okay to charge for your ancestral clearings. It's okay to charge for that. And a lot of people think, because they're connected to source or whatever term that they might have, that there's a sense of not needing to. But there's this capacity to really walk between worlds, is we want to stay connected to this 5D world, which is absolutely phenomenal, where there is no need for money. There is no need for that exchange, because the exchange is done differently. But the reality is, and that's a very, loaded word as well, right? Our reality is there's a level of, we're still walking in this 3D world. So it's being able to, what I call, walk between worlds. And it is okay to charge. There is value to what you do. And this is probably why I'm doing what I do, because I see the value in it, and I see it as something that is becoming more mainstream, and people are looking for. Thanks, Dre. I love that. Bring the fire. Love it. And I really want those people to shine. I want this to be mainstream. And I want it to be alongside psychology. I want it to be alongside medicine. Yeah.
So,
sorry, I'm ranting.
I love that. People want to get in touch with you.
If Michelle has resonated with you and you want to know more, check the link at the bottom, jump on her Facebook page, and she'd gladly connect with you. And just for any of the latecomers, just so that I can make sure that we're covering all our bases, that Michelle has this wonderful gift for you. So please, 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 when someone gives you a gift, take the gift. Don't go, it's not for me. Take the gift.
Can you say that in Elvish?
Yeah, damn it, take the gift. and it's funny because I am one of those people who will give, and it's just something in me that it's self-worth. Well, I'm not worth. You can't give that to me. I've had so many personal lessons in when somebody's gone to gift me with something to shut the heck up, to not take anything. Yeah, Dre, take the gift. Yes, and I have not. And I'll give the shirt off my back. But somebody offers me the shirt to cover up again because I'm sunburning. No, I don't need it. It's an interesting lesson that I think I'm through it, but I need a 12-step program because I'm not 100% through it. Anybody?
I found that's quite interesting. No, it's not just you. I think there's a lot of people who are used to giving and they're not so good at receiving, whether they be in a personal life or a business life. I've seen that time and time again. Michelle, I'm sure you have too.
Look, absolutely. Because as I was listening to Neil say what he said, like the shirt, I'll take it. As I was listening to Neil speak, again, it was funny because I was just having this conversation this morning about receiving, and there's a lot of people that struggle to receive. And when we do things, even the things that we sometimes do for ourselves, there's a level of giving that we do, and whether it be in our business, whether it be in relationships, whether it just be in life, we're probably more inclined to give to other people rather than give to ourselves. And there's that level of learning to receive, which is really important. And it is a big journey. It's something huge that when we start to really receive at the level that we desire, when we're looking at, if we were talking spirituality, this is how we start to notice our gifts come forth, and we start to, feel the tangibility of that other realm come to play. But that receiving, it's a beautiful space to be in. That it would be lovely to see more people learning to do so.
I feel like acceptance is the first part of moving into that. It's okay. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, let's go with that. Because if we're not aware that we're doing this, because again, maybe that step before that again is still being aware of what we're doing. Because sometimes we think we're receiving when we're actually giving still at the same time. So it's being aware of really where we're sitting with that. Are we actually receiving at the purest level? So we do that, and yes, and then accepting that it's okay to receive, and then receiving the gift.
I want to add to that because as a mum, we're sort of society tells us to not give the burnt bits to our kids, right? So as a mum, I've eaten, the burnt toast, or I've eaten, the bit that doesn't look so pretty, and it's sort of encouraged by a society that, we give and give and give to our kids, or give and give to a business, or give and give to our clients, that receiving can be such a tricky thing to go into. I love that we are discussing this. Guys, if you've got any questions on this, please drop it in. We would love to hear from you, or if you've got any experiences, please drop it into the chat bar. And again, we would love to experience your experience with you. So we're like, when we go, Neil.
One of the lessons that my friend Eric Mortimer, who's been on our show previously, and he wanted to gift something to me, and I said no, and he got this strange look on his face, and we're out for a walk, and I go, "What's up?" And he said, "Well, I like to give things. You've just taken away my gift of being able to give to you." And I'm like, blink, 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 blink. Oh shit. And and I could physically see on his face that yes, I had done this. And then I could only say, "I'm sorry, I will accept your gift." And from that day, I may go, and then I just accept it because I realized wholeheartedly I am taking away his joy of giving.
Absolutely. Look, I think there's so many rabbit holes, and I know that we're on a time frame, but you're right, Sarah. You know, we're taught to not give right from the word go. So it is a balance, and we grow into that. And maybe we have to, when our kids are little, give to them, and we're still giving, but we're giving differently and receiving differently as they grow and through life. So it is a process of growing into that.
I think that also there's this being authentically you and stepping into that new realm. Here I am, I've got my gifts I want to share. So you'll see people giving away like 5-day challenges and things like that. My personal experience has been when I've attended a challenge, if I've sort of attended and I don't think about paying for it, and maybe I'll attend the first day or 3, but if I believe that I've paid for it, I'm more likely to actually show up and do the work and get my notepad out and get there all the way to the end and really thrive from this amazing gift that they've given me. I'm wondering what your experiences are.
And there are, I suppose, different ways of exchange, isn't there? If that's what you're talking about in relation to that, is sometimes it's not always a monetary exchange, but it's really recognizing what that is and the gift in that, what that is for you, more importantly.
Yeah, the gift of time is huge. I volunteered years ago to cook for a homeless, and it was nothing. There could be no price tag I could put on the love that these people, the appreciation that they gave after they had a warm cooked meal. It was just, and done with love, and it was just like, my love tank was full.
Yeah. And I suppose just to add, it's beautiful, isn't it? And it's not that we shouldn't give. I think you're right. Be your authentic self. And giving in itself is something beautiful and something precious. But it's being open to receiving the gift so that someone else can have the gift of giving.
Absolutely. So as we go forward, and we all want to create a better holistic world. If there was something that each of us wanted to improve in the world, what would one thing that you would love to the world could use more of? What do you think the world could use more of? Anyone? What would you want to, your gift to the world? What would you give to the world to make it a happier, healthier place?
Again, another loaded question. I love these questions. They're beautiful. We could go down so many rabbit holes with this. But look, where I will go with this is that simple process of being yourself, coming home to who you truly are, really seeing the magic in who you are as a person, because we forget we have people that tell us that we're not doing good enough, like we were talking about before, and we have too many voices just reminding us that we're not who we think we truly are. And there's this little seed inside that says, you know what, you are more. You can give more. You are more than who you truly believe the world thinks you are. And we forget and we stay small. So really allowing and showing people to come home and giving them permission to show up as themselves, whether it be their quirkiness, their weirdness, their whatever it might be, but just as themselves, unapologetically. You know, that in itself is such a perfect gift, because we end up becoming someone else, and like everyone else is taken, right? Isn't that what the saying goes? The more we can be us, that would be a beautiful gift, remembering who we truly are at our core, at our soul. What a gift.
So you mean we don't have to copy our mentors? We can like actually just still be ourselves? Is this what you're telling me? Like, hold the phones, everyone.
Yeah. I mean, doesn't we get guidance from people, but we got to be ourselves in the process. You know, we don't want to copy people, because we copy them. We're not us. We're putting on a mask and being someone or something we're not. And how can we, when we're sharing a message, how can we authentically share with people when we're trying to be like our mentor or someone who's coaching us or someone that we aspire to be like? And we can still aspire to being like them, but with the flavor of being ourselves, being in the wholeness of ourselves, being in the truth of ourselves, sharing a message that is truly ours to speak into, and not someone else's just because they say it's what we should be doing.
I would add connection. Take the time to really connect with people. Like most people in the service industry have their name right there. Take a moment and just say, thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Michelle, for whatever. You're in the line at the grocery store, they got their name. Just say thank you. And I don't know what they've been going through. I don't know what they're going home to. I don't know that they've just lost their best friend and they're just barely holding it together. Or they've won the lottery and they're on the way out and they're just barely managing to stay there on the shift. But whatever, kindness, just be kind. Because I believe in reciprocity. If I am kind, it will come back to me.
100%.
I want to share something my daughter suggested that we do coming up soon, is that we go out and collect rubbish. Now, this is something that I've been taught to do from when I was a kid, and not to share that I was doing it. Like, you won't see me posting I just picked up rubbish. We just do it because it's the right thing to do. You don't have to give money to a homeless person and film them. You could just do it because it's the right thing to do. So, you know, I think this is really important, you know, sticking to our values and morals and just doing the right thing just because it's the right thing. I know and you know that I'm going to go to bed with a smile on my face because I've done that right thing that night or that day, right? Just doing the right thing, that is absolutely the best gift. So we're going to go and collect rubbish, and she's asked us to go and bring her friends to go and do it as well, and I love that. And I'm looking forward to encouraging that. So maybe you could go pick up some rubbish. If you do, let me know. You don't have to take photos. That's okay. But go do it because it's the right thing to do. And whatever else it is for the right thing for you to do that too. One of the biggest gifts that I gave myself many years ago was, I don't know about you, but I brush my teeth. Does anyone else brush their teeth or their hair when to put their makeup on, but they don't actually look at themselves? Like, statistics show at least 50% of people don't actually look at themselves in the mirror. And then quite often of the other 50%, they judge. Oh, I've got a wrinkle, or oh, I could do this better, or all those judgments, like Michelle was saying before, you're adding to these other people who are judging and criticizing. And what about if you were just your own best advocate and you looked at yourself with kindness and said, you know what, you are amazing for whatever reason. Yeah, building yourself up in the mirror is a beautiful thing to share. Michelle, is that something that you do with your clients? Like, do you ask them to look into the mirror, or do you come about it with a different perspective?
Look, it comes down to what they're particularly needing at that particular point. You know, again, it could be simple strategy work, but if we're looking at really shifting the stories that they have, then it could be something like that. Absolutely. A lot of those things, really speaking into it, speaking to ourselves, which can be really confronting for a lot of people, can be a really powerful healing tool. So it depends where people need to go. And I think, like anyone, not one size fits all. Not one size fits all.
As being the time Grinch here, the time dwarf, I'm sorry. This has been such a great conversation, and yet we're close to the end. So for those, could you that are just wanting to sneak out, Michelle, could you just share what this offer is?
It is my free ebook. It's got 6 mistakes that most, if not all, holistic practitioners, spiritual healers, spiritual entrepreneurs often do. And just understanding, if we're aware of that, it's also got the antidote in there. So what you can do a little bit differently. So it doesn't leave you on the lurch. It gives you the answer as well. So absolutely my gift to you.
And somewhere below is you can get a hold of Michelle on Facebook. And I'm pretty excited.
Sorry, Neil.
We're fighting over producing this show, and that's okay. I'm really excited. On September 12th, 2023, I'm releasing my newest book, Alchemy of the Heart, Siobhan Suncloud. And it's a book of stepping into oneself, stepping into the possibilities of growth. And it's told a young man is hit rock bottom, and by chance he meets, there's no chance, but by chance, there's no really chances in life, but by chance he meets this incredible woman, Siobhan Suncloud, who takes him as an apprentice and shows him that there's more to life than you can feel and touch. There's something called living from your heart, living from a heart-based connection. And the story is released on September 12th on Amazon. You can get it on your local, through Barnes & Noble, or wherever else that you get your fine books from. And yes, I would love it if you would buy my book.
Absolutely. Let's make Neil Thrussell the bestseller again, yeah? This is my little shadow journal information that's popping up on the screen. So I've been creating coloring in book, because I quite like to draw. I know, crazy. I know, who would have thought the art therapist likes to create? Yeah, no, that's me. I also like to delve into all sorts of things. So for me personally, this year's all been about my shadow, and it's been an important journey for me. So that is also part of what I am putting in my forthcoming journal. If you're interested, if you'd like to suggest any good questions, if you're going to comment, please reach out. I'm looking forward to putting it together for you in the next few whiles too. Meanwhile, we've almost finished the show. I can't believe it's almost time again. And guys, whether you're watching again live or in replay, we appreciate you. Michelle, we appreciate you.
I appreciate both of you for having me here.
How can we end the show, Michelle? What would you like to leave us with?
Look, it's something really, really simple. It's time. It's time to really, truly awaken the greatness within you. And if you can't see it, I can.
And I ask you just to connect with those around you. Just be present to them. And with that, I love you and see you next time. Sarah?
Oh, I would add just be present with yourself too. Turn off all your devices and just be. And until
So
next
with
time we
that-
see each other, go out and have amazing conversations.